My go fiddly-van and Melonine, and well met indeed. I'm Yrch and welcome back to Middle-earth as we continue on as the Ar-Adûnâim. We are going to be attacking Estolad today, killing off Radbag and this small little gathering. Our army here, Nimruzimir, will then move over and take up governance, I imagine, of Numenor's glory, or we'll build an army composition that frees up our family tree from certain death, and then we will head out and take some of Mordor's remaining provinces, most likely the southern one, just to burn it to the ground more than anything, and then we can move round and hit Thauerband, leaving Saragost as their last settlement. Well, actually, Oibamari will be their last settlement, but that's too far away to worry about at the moment. If you weren't there on the last episode, we've got a little army down here. Captain Min Luben, he's moving on Gelebrin, and up in the north, Tariq Magan is moving on the Morannon. Hopefully going to get there before Muzzluk. We won't get there before Muzzluk, but he will then be able to take it back once Muzzluk kills us and takes the gate again. Mordor desperate, of course, to get troops into this middle area, but for now, the challenge and the task lies with Nimruzimir to take Estolad back so that we can sell it to Dol Amroth. Oh dear. They don't think they're going to win. I can't do the cheesy tactic to get them to fight me. Oh well, we're going to have to end the turn then. That's not a problem. Happy to do so. Or faction announcement. A new family member, Arnuben. Argemukad has become the mighty, a legendary commander. Avaloban's now got an Ar-Adûnâim shield with 1 hit point, 1 renown, and 1 command when defending walls, and he's also got the General's longsword, +1 troop renown and +1 acumen. Well done, Avaloban. Who is Avaloban? Where is Avaloban?
Orders, my lord.
Which fellow is... Oh, that fellow over there, in Dirthing. You're one of our family members, are you not? Although, annoyingly, our family tree is now interspersed with adoptees. Now, I have nothing against adoptees, but in a nation who you are essentially role-playing as true-blooded, it seems almost antithetical to accept people into your family who aren't your actual blood relations. And I do wish Medieval 2 allowed you to reject adoptions. Or, well, obviously you can reject all adoptions, but I wish that it gave a way to allow you to take on generals without adding them to your family tree. Because that is entirely possible. Something that the game doesn't tell you as well, see, it goes into some detail, but it doesn't even give you the information for it, is that generals that begin the game, and indeed generals that you take on throughout the game, have their own hidden family trees. But the game doesn't really tell you that anywhere. So at the start of the game, this is most common, and the nation that this is seen best with is Gondor. Because, of course, Gondor has its ruling family of Denethor, Boromir, and Faramir. But then all of the other lords that we start the game with when you play as Gondor in all the various fiefdoms, they all have wives and children. But you don't get to see who those wives and children are, and I think that takes away from the role-playing to a degree. Your family tree, you should be able to change it between people, I think. So you should be able to have a drop-down menu, and it says, like, ruling family, and then you can click on other people. Because, for all we know, for example, Avaloban, in a different universe, because, of course, we know that Avaloban is an adopted family member. But in another world... Oh, we can just assault straight away. Yeah, go on. In another world, Avaloban's not part of our family tree, but he has a wife, and let's say he's the father of Nimruzimir. In the game, there is no way of knowing that. The only indicator that usually you can find that your generals might be related is that they will share similar genealogical traits. So, again, if we turn into the elves, for the example on this one, elves are often, for example, listed of certain houses. So they'll be of the House of Finarfin or the House of Finrod or something like that, for example. They may well be in the same house. There's so many named elves in the First Age. Balls to try to remember them all, personally. But anyway, and so if Elrond has a child, it will be in the same genealogical house as Elrond, so there'll be a House of the Half-Elven, I expect. But then if Gildor has a child, then their child might be House of Finarfin, for example. So that's the only indicator you really have that those people are possibly father and son. Whereas I really do wish it gave you that feature in the family tree tier, because surely it can't be that hard to add that in and just let you see everyone's family trees. Also, if we're going down that route, I really do wish that it let you, as the ruler, if your family tree actually dies out, but generals are still alive, it should definitely just take one of those generals and supplant your existing ruling family. So rather than regicide being an actual thing, I just don't think it should. If there are no generals left to command the nation, then sure, regicide will work and the army will die off when the family tree dies. But if there are any other generals, they should just take up governance of the nation. That's just how it would work. Of course, it would probably lead to great strife and civil war, which the game is possibly beyond the game. But is just how it would be. There's been loads of documented cases in history of nation states dying without heirs, or kings dying without heirs, and then just a lord being chosen to rule. That's how it works. And it seems a huge oversight, in my opinion, on medieval's part, that they never set that up as a feature to begin with. Can you imagine the kingdoms of France and Spain and England and Scotland and all the big medieval ones, the Netherlands, for example, all of those kingdoms, can you imagine them just ceasing to exist because their king was killed in battle? It just wouldn't happen. And it surprises me to this day, we killed a man. It surprises me to this day that the game actually has that as a feature. It surely cannot be difficult to just choose one of the other generals and appoint them as your new lord, your new king. I just think it's mad. I mean, if one, again, it's Anglo-centric, and I apologise for that. But for our own history, you may well be aware of the essentially Dutch invasion of England, depending on who you ask, with William and Mary, who England didn't have a king, or I believe we didn't have a king, or we had a succession crisis, and so the Lords just invited a Dutch nobleman to come over and be our king. And he did. England didn't cease to exist. We just then had a Dutch king, and he became King William, I believe, memory serves. My knowledge of it is patchy. I know the salient facts, that a Dutch person was invited over to become king, and he and his wife came over, and they became William and Mary. I believe he was called William of Orange before that, but then isn't every famous Dutch person called of Orange? Isn't that just your go-to when you don't have a proper epithet for them? Disparagement of Dutch people aside, it's just bonkers that medieval doesn't have that as a feature. Absolute bonkers. Particularly because medieval is based on that exact time period. Maybe not the exact time period of William and Mary, but the time period of European nation states being entirely driven on their monarchs. And if the monarch's not alive, then just a nobleman stepping up. And if they had time with it, they could even develop it into a fully fledged Civil War strife type feature. But I don't think at the time the engine could have done that. But I feel like nowadays a Total War game could absolutely have that. So let's say your king and your heir are killed in the same battle, and they have no other children. Then you could then be presented with two options, for example, the two most likely candidates to become king from your selection of generals. And it would then give you, I don't know, this is a very bare bones idea, but I think it'd be cool. It then gives you like a percentage rating of how much they are backed. So if you have one general who you fought all your battles with, so he's really high command stat, he's got an excellent success rate, the people in essence love him, he'd have like a 90% backing approval. So when you choose him, there's almost no disorder or dissent. Everyone agrees this guy is a fantastic person to become our king. But let's say you choose your choices between two generals who you've used equally, and they have an almost 50% backing. Then you choose one, and then 50% of your nation state is then disappointed at the choice you've made. So you then potentially have civil war, or there could be public order problems in your settlements. There could be an actual uprising, depending on, say you have a general who you choose someone who has 40% backing, for example. That could then mean that you're going to get uprisings. I just think that is a much, much better system, and far more true to life of how it would have been when a king is selected, because it's just this. It's very similar to today, isn't it? With the way that political parties work, half of you like one, half of you like the other, and half of you are then discontented if one of you, if one wins and the other doesn't. But back then, people expressed their discontent in full-on civil strife and actual civil wars. So, and I think that would be a cool feature if they ever made a Medieval 3. But anywho, this battle is well and truly over. We have lost some faithful because we went up against Halberds. Alas, alas, alas. 30. Now, I'm instantly nervous now, though. Unrelated, because today, this video was recorded on Thursday, the 12th of August, so whenever you're watching it. And obviously in February of next year, I'm hoping to go to New Zealand. And as I understand it, Jacinda Ardern is making an announcement on the 12th of August. And I've just seen an email come in from Jessica. And all I can see is the heading is NZ, and the first line is, "Hey, have you seen the announcement about ... And I'd forgotten that the announcement was today, and I'm tempted to not look at it, because if Jacinda says we're not going to open the borders until the summer of next year, for example, then we can't go to New Zealand, and I will be terribly disappointed.
my lord.
But by the time you're all watching this, that will have long been decided, and you can just go and look it up, and you can then see if I'm reveling in delight or whether I am now a shadow of my former self. Right, I'm going to destroy that barracks because I'd like money, because we're going to, as I say, sell this on to Dol Amroth. But the army's going to have to stay there for a turn. So
My lord.
Mordor, I don't think will retaliate. They don't really have the strength. Oh, you didn't attack! Oh, Musluk, what are you doing? What are you doing, you moron? Yes. Absolute fool. Alright, leave behind the things that aren't going to help. And we'll take both generals on it. Because this fella doesn't have a general, does he? And then we can link up. We can link up and form one big, large army and finally kill Gellerbrin. We've underestimated Gellerbrin one too many times now. But no longer. Right, so Eldamir, if you just stay there for the moment, because you could probably deal with those armies anyway, and Minlubin, if you head east and try and link up with him, and then we'll go from there. The army in here, I'd like you to mop these two up, because they will cause us some problems, won't they? We should rename Yrch, Estolad, just because we don't want to call it Yrch Encampment, do we? Let's call it Sauron's Folly. Or, no, something better. We haven't actually beaten Sauron here, have we? It's just a... I don't know what to call it. Did someone die here? Oh, Pharazôn died here, didn't he? Oh, he didn't die here, but he died. And it would be a great middle finger to Mordor if we put Ar-Pharazôn in the middle. Although Ar-Pharazôn has accents, doesn't it? Ar-Pharazôn's camp works, I suppose, doesn't it? We could just call it Ar-Pharazôn, but that's a bit naff. If we were to link it with Sindarin, it'd be Ar-Pharazônost. But they would never name their town as Sindarin, would they? Ar-Pharazôn's... We'll just call it camp for now until you can all suggest a much better name. Also, I can't remember where the accents go in Pharazôn. Oh, on the O. I don't know the I don't know the keyboard command for an O with an accent over it. I know the U with an accent over it. And I know the E with the diaresis. It's an umlaut in German. It's a diaresis when in other languages, if you're wondering. The two dots. Umlaut is specific to German. Diaresis is for other things. I can't remember what it is. So we're just going to leave it as O for now. And I'm sure you'll all suggest a better name. All right, let's end the turn. Did the Witch King come back for Barad-dûr? And how his mopping up these armies is going to be such a boring ball ache. But it is what it is. We'll see. We will see. Oh, no. I just read the email from Jess. She doesn't tell me what it is, but she said it's safe to say she's feeling deflated. It would seem New Zealand are not going to be opening their borders by the time we go. Now, fortunately, we get all of our money back if COVID is the reason we can't go to New Zealand, so which is good, but it's not looking positive then from what Jess has just said. New Zealand borders to remain closed for the rest of the year. Until at least the end of the year. Individual risk-based model for quarantine-free travel from the start of next year. Well, if she can get the population vaccinated by the end of the year, all hope is not lost. We don't go until the 8th of February. Mordor lessened. The dust blows across the pyres of orc kind. Huge mounds mark the sites of slain trolls. The Ologai and the Black Uruks fall in droves, and their spears lie shivered upon the grass. Shields bearing the eye lie to return to the earth. Yeah, damn bloody right. Oh, they've formed into one army. That's good. That means they will stand and fight, and we can massacre them. Right, let's leave behind you. Oh, I've done that the wrong way around. You stay behind. And oh no, I don't want to leave anyone behind, do I? Oh, we can't afford it at the moment, though. Our Pharazôn's camp gives 1,807. Yes, it's a hefty sum of money. Look at that! Gellerbrin has managed to again pull an army out of absolutely thin air.
Your orders, my lord.
You can sod off Uyghur or whatever your bloody name is.
Yes, my lord.
Uyghur.
We can go no further, my lord.
Mazluk.
We shall continue tomorrow.
Right, let's see if
My
we can... So for now, the entire army just take a step out of the
With
camp.
honor.
Let's see if we
Yes,
can
my lord.
Always
do the
happy
trade.
to deal with you,
Make
trusted
offer,
friends.
give region. Ooh, our Pharazon's camp. In place for make offer, make demand. Midas Morgul. You've got a lot of regions now, so it probably won't matter as much. Surely you don't want. You're not as bothered. I'll give you a regular tribute of 1,000 gold. Should have just added a 0. Oh, you can only give a tribute of the amount of money you've got, can't you? So I'll give you 313 for the next 15 turns. That's what? 4,500 gold coins. Alright, we'll make it 20 turns. Balance, that's not good enough. I'll give you my map information. Ah, yes.
Possibly a mistake.
Good day to you.
Yes, and we got a... Goodness gracious, what a garrison. Guardians of Kharndum for some reason. Absolutely glorious. Why on earth have we just got Guardians of Kharndum? That's anyone's guess. Lebanon Marines, we haven't trained any of those yet. And we got 3 Naru and Aru Household Guard. That's a formidable garrison. It hates us with a strong burning passion. We've got a Mason's Guildhouse already built. The way station is up, we'll keep that. Sheep farming, we don't want that. Definitely don't want that. We can't upgrade this. It's already got 20,000 people. Ah, it's because you didn't destroy the people inside of it, did you, Dol Amroth? Stupid idiots. So this is going to hate us forever. We're never going to get Minas Morgul to like us. Right, our Pharazon's camp has gone to them.
Your orders, my lord.
I'll do you a favour. I'm going to auto-resolve this. Controversial though it may be, I'm going to auto-resolve this.
Victory! To battle.
See how well they do. No, actually, auto-resolving against Mordor always leads to poor form, doesn't it? No, we're going to
Muster
fight
your
it.
courage, men.
I'm not as deflated
We
as
march
Jessica, if I
into
may, if I
battle.
apologise to take you through our life events. I think if Jacinda Ardern has kept New Zealand closed until the end of the year, then that will give New Zealand time to vaccinate its, 6 million people? I mean, the UK already has something like 48 million people double vaccinated. You would have thought that with New Zealand having only 6 million people total, it was 4 when we were last there, but I think it's 5 or 6 now. Anyway, they should be able to vaccinate the population by the end of the year, and then one would hope that given that by the end of the year, almost every single person in the UK will be double vaccinated. And at the moment, the UK coronavirus situation is, dare I say, completely under control. We've opened up, so at the moment there are now no restrictions in the UK at all. There are restrictions on travel and things like that and leaving the country, but when you're within the country, if you live here, there are no restrictions here anymore. Face masks are entirely optional. Many people still wear them, myself included, but they are now entirely optional. Most people have been double vaccinated, and our hospital transmission rate at the moment is now so low it's not even newsworthy anymore. So in many ways, COVID, and touch wood, is kind of under wraps here. So one hopes that New Zealand might take pity on us, because if we've got it under control, then our people are no longer getting it. It's dying out here, so we should be good by then. And then that gives them a month and a half, or it gives a month window to see if it will be all right. But we'll see. This isn't actually a very good setup, is it, now that I'm putting my troops like this? But we attack them, so they're only going to run away. And they're probably just going to run up that hill over there. Let's do the usual, dare I say, boring plan of moving over here. I think they will just walk up that hill. I can't see them doing anything other than that. Right, you're the main defensive line that's going to step forward. You three, I don't really have a use for you at the moment. Cavalry. Oh no, we'll win this, whatever. I could just run my entire army at them and we would win. We might take a few more losses than we need to, but we would still win. But you can all be pleased to know that the end of fighting Mordor is now really in sight. We have finally got them under control. We've finally got them in check. And soon, battles here in Mordor will be a thing of the past. Although I think what we should do... Are you attacking archers? Yeah, orc archers, black orc archers. Pull the ballista crew to here, which is that little hill. Put the archers in front of the ballista crew like that. I'm going to go and tempt our enemy to come and attack us. Just rejig all the lines. I'm going to charge my cavalry into them. Right, into positions, everyone. Alright, some Black Oak archers have stepped forward. We've hit them. If we can send disarray amongst their ranks, they'll probably charge their main line in.
The battle is very much in our favour. Victory will be ours.
Yeah, they're coming. Ballista crew can turn around. Archers can start firing shortly. Yep, first waves are. Oh, they don't have a general, do they? Oh, they've got their own siege. Oh, we need to put that out. We need to take that out. Purpose for the cavalry. And there we go. The battle lines are joined. There you go. You just stay and fight them. Charge the line forward. Don't worry about defense. Pikes can just stay out of it, I think. Oh, they don't like that. They've sent the halberds in to deal with them. That's interesting. We've got mass routing as soon as our lines hit. That's ridiculous. Right, cavalry, there's a task for you then. Gondor militia. Come on, Cav. Do as you're told. Alright, melee line. You're not fighting anyone anymore, are you? No. Go and get those. Right, melee line just charge the ballista crew. Oh, bugger, they brought them back in.
Lost half their men. The battle is very much in our favour.
Oh, cavalry is routing. The cavalry is routing. There.
The enemy army
there we go.
flees the field. Pursue and run them down.
Capture as many as you can. Get the cavalry back in. What are we on? 77. That's not enough. That is not enough. That Moran and Guard unit's still alive. You can always come back and get the Orc Archers, and they've been cut off by our Adrazea warriors, which will capture a few. Get the Ballista crew. Oh, we're up to 90. That's got it. That's enough. That reaches the cutoff. Capture as many as we can there. Might as well. Yes. She rides. 171 men died, 1,229 orcs. Right, and then this army can move off. And as I say, relieve the garrison of Barad-dûr. There are 3 more settlements inside Mordor, and then that is it. Mordor then have Oibamari, but I'm happy to let them just sit out in Oibamari and let Khand finish them off, to be honest. I don't really want a settlement all the way out there. It's just going to invite runic aggression. Such aggression? And we don't want runic aggression. Very pointedly so. Now, what we do want to do, though, is just hover around here for a moment and wait for the inevitable, hopefully, rebellion at Ar-Pharazôn's camp. What I would really quite like to do is abandon Minas Morgul so that I can wipe out the population, because it's going to hate us forever and a day. And it is therefore not going to be of any use to us for a very long time. Nothing but a burden, you might say. How are you doing up here? Right, it's time to start solidifying our hold on this region, then actually start building cultural buildings. Oh, Zagar's coming back on his own. Good work, Zagar. Nice one.
My lord.
Right, go and chat to Gondor in a moment, and we'll try and get map info with Gondor. Now, do remember that when Mordor go below 3 settlements, they will send a last stand stack against us. And at the moment, they have got 5 settlements. So we've got some time. And that last stand army will spawn next to Barad-dûr. So we need to keep a garrison there. But if I can get my family tree out of the city... Oh, hello, Lothlorien. What brings you all the way to my auspicious realm? Bribery. Delightful. Why would you try and bribe Eastern Osgiliath? I just don't understand.
We must make a stand.
The AI is crazy. Oh, Ar-Pharazôn's camp hasn't rebelled yet. Well, normally it takes at least 2 turns, doesn't it? They go into civil strife first, and then they go into outright uprisings. But it will side with Mordor. It will just join Mordor again, so we'll just have to assault it and take it back. But then that's worked perfectly. We've gotten Minas Morgul for the low cost of 300 gold a turn for 20 turns, which is nothing, really, given how much we make. They won't be able to get... Well, they could get troops to it, actually, now that I've said that out loud. Because they have got troops just there. Oh, Minas Morgul starting like us. I'd love the population to decrease. I am very keen on population decreasing. Yeah, get them killed off. I think the AI gets anti-squalor... they negate squalor, in essence. So squalor just isn't a thing for the AI, which is why this is... gets so big, because the way that it's supposed to work is that if a city cannot upgrade, then the growth will naturally stop when it reaches the highest, when it reaches its highest level.
Yes, my lord.
But as we can quite clearly see, that hasn't happened, and I think it's because of the AI.
Your orders, my lord.
Right, I'm going to merge you two together, but we've got 2 extra units we can't take. You're going to step aside then, and 87 of you.
Your orders, my lord.
Otherwise, the 2 of you join together and go that way. You just come down to Minas Morgul, I suppose. Well, actually, why bother? You can just be removed. Solid, just remove you both. Could have taken you to the Morannon, but there's not really much point. The garrison we have in the Morannon is small and inoffensive, and Yrch probably could give us some grief. So we should send something up there. 2 territorial guardsman units. Yeah, you go and defend the Morannon.
Your orders, my lord.
Nimrozimir. I don't really want to move you off yet, because they can deal with that army from Mordor, and I really want Ar-Pharazôn's camp.
To battle, glory, honor, an honourable, glorious victory.
You made it out alive, little bugger.
This tower will keep vigil over
right, yeah,
the
go
land.
towards Numenor's glory then. Yeah, and we'll form an
shall
army out of the
continue
2 of those
tomorrow.
armies. Minas Morgul built a dark sanctuary. Nice one. We will try and just endure in Minas Morgul because it will drop. So if you took if I just to expand on my point, someone like Calenhad at 6,000 gold coins, Calenhad becomes the largest it can possibly be. The tier above that, because of the way that custom settlements work, the tier above that is actually the Western and Eastern Osgiliath size, which is 4,000. So when a castle, specifically, somewhere like Minas Morgul, reaches around about, I think about 8,000 people, that is the highest it can ever actually be. There is no tier above that. And the game knows that. So normally at about that point, it should then try and stop the growth. It tries to balance the growth out naturally to counsel the squalor, because it knows you can't upgrade that city anymore. Squalor will always be a minor problem, but squalor is what keeps you in check. So you have to deal with the public order problems that squalor brings, but it keeps your growth in check, and thus, so in essence, the people are in such disgusting conditions that they're dying in such numbers that your population is actually going down. The people that aren't dying, i.e. the middle and higher classes, are so disappointed that the town's filled with verminous trash, as they see them, that they then become unhappy. But then as the verminous trash dies off, they're then less unhappy. So squalor is the game's way of keeping growth in check. But as we have just seen there, the AI doesn't have these squalor issues. So they can just keep it going forever and ever and ever and ever, because they counter squalor, which is how you end up with things like this. The minute we've taken it over, it is then losing 2.5% of its population per term, which is no small amount when there's 19,000 people in there. So we don't need to worry about killing them all, because they'll die naturally anyway. But anyway, I'm not going to click end turn because I don't want to fight the battle at Barad-dûr again. That'll be for another episode. So I'm probably going to end the episode there. So very successful indeed. Mordor is really pushed back now. We've got 2 solid forces at Numenor's glory. The Witch King has buggered off. Mordor now doesn't threaten us. The Gelebrin army has been entirely brought forth under Nazgûl. We can beat Nazgûl with Eldamir quite soundly, and then move in and finally get Gelebrin off of our hands. Now the problem with Gelebrin is it might open up Dol Guldur to become our enemy. The Dol Guldur don't really have any beef with us, but they are far stronger than Mordor now. They are the real enemy in this region, so we've got to watch out for that. Rhûn isn't not bothered with us because of their wars with 3 other nations. That keeps them more than busy, so they're not interested in fighting us. But we just need to worry about Mordor the Mordor aspect of Mordor first, and then we can finally stop fighting on this bleak wasteland and turn our attention to the warm, green fields of Gondor. But until this Saturday then, so I will be back this Saturday to live stream the next episode. Join me at 11 o'clock British summertime in the morning. We will run for an hour and a half as we always do till 12:30. Come and join in. If you have any questions about anything, come and present those questions to me, and I look forward to speaking and seeing you all then. But until then, dear friends, Nevair Neden Pedamad Melunin, and farewell.